will come to meeting will come to order at the City Council of Sky Valley special called meeting. I want to welcome you all. We have a quorum present with,
I'm sorry, my phones didn't come on yet, but she's there.
With council members on Zoom and Council Member Curtis, Council Member Beasley, Council Member Price, and Council Member Allred, all present. Thank you for joining us there, friends, again.
Thank you.
So I have asked Councilman Tony Allred to deliver the invocation for us today.
Heavenly Father, it's our honor to come before you today. We recognize that it is you who has instituted governments among men, and you have developed the leadership style for those governments, and you have authorized them. And Father, we take that responsibility very seriously, knowing that it is you who is in control. We would ask that you would guide us, Father, lead us, inspire us, temper us, Father, give us wisdom, give us patience, and give us the ability to do it all individually. We ask all of this in Christ's name.
Amen.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all have the agenda before you, and I ask for a motion to adopt the agenda today.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion, any amendment, any addition? No. All in favor?
Aye.
And the agenda is adopted. Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is public forum and general comments. Any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda as a public hearing may speak to the council for a maximum of 5 minutes. The speaker must identify by name, and you do not need to provide your address before speaking. No formal action can be taken. Is there anybody who wishes to address the council? Come up and to the microphone, please, and identify yourself.
My name is David Goodrow. I live on 615 West Sugarbush. And the reason why I'm here today is because my understanding is that you all are prepared to walk away from $5 million grant. That's shocking to me and many other people that I know. And what I would say is that you all have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interests of the residents or citizens of Sky Valley. And you ran on a campaign, which was a very unusual campaign from what I observed, very personal, sometimes petty. And you ran on a campaign promise against development, which I get. I've been around here for 20 years. And to stop development. I am in favor of managed growth, smart development. And your campaign had a message of stop development, stop Merrill. And one of the things I'd like to say is I'd like to hear you people stop trashing Merrill. I was on the original board. When we passed the hat on a Friday afternoon, we had to have $50,000 to bring to the bank. We passed the hat and bought the club And I can tell you, this place was in sorry state at that time. It was a mess. And Merrill left us millions of dollars of development, and he did a good thing. Now, everything ain't perfect, wasn't perfect. But I'm telling you people on this council, you're all newbies, that Merrill ought to be your best friend. Merrill should be your best friend. Having sat on the original board at Sky Valley, the septic issue was a big problem. And my understanding is that other developers that came in here to try to buy this place couldn't deal, the septic issue was an unsolvable problem. And Frank Norton went down and personally negotiated with Harrison Merrill and was able to work something out. So my point is, and you all are newbies, is that the septic issue years ago was a huge problem, and it's a huge problem today. So since that time, there have been decades of people working on this. City, county, different administrations, for years, have worked on this issue and looked at it. You have been in office for a few weeks, and suddenly you have this wisdom that is going to overturn everything. A $5 million grant, y'all tell us how smart you are. I mean, we've heard it numerous times, that you all have this wisdom now that no, we shouldn't do this. And all the work that all these people, the city, the county, engineers, whatever, have put into this is now, we're gonna throw it all away. We got a $5 million grant, we're gonna throw that away, because you all know better. And you've been in office for just a few weeks. Really? Really? You haven't done a needs assessment. You have talked about the need that we may need a septic system twice as big as what the plan is now. And you have said that we may need one twice as big. You campaign on doing a needs assessment. You haven't done a needs assessment. My point is that let's manage growth. It looks to me like your decision is hasty.
Thank you, your time is up. Is there anyone else who wishes to make, please come on up and identify yourself.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Bob Enzer. I'm a resident of Sky Valley, but not a citizen. I'm a citizen of Tallahassee, but I pay taxes here, just the same as you. Matter of fact, I pay at a higher rate than you do because I don't get homestead exemption. When you're elected to represent all of the people of Tallahassee, of Sky Valley, not just those that are voters. We all pay taxes. You know, it seems like about 250 years ago, there was a movement in this country. It's called taxation without representation. And people were being taxed, but they didn't feel like they had a representative in what was being done. And I think this commission feels like they got a mandate from the citizens not to build a system. May I suggest to you that was maybe 25% of the property owners and the taxpayers. And many of those people that voted would not be affected because they live up on the mountains. They're not going to have sewer anyway. They're not going to pay taxes or not have connection fees. So before you throw $5 million away, I think you need to explore all your options. Let me suggest to you that there are unanswered questions. And I asked those questions of the former commission, and I did not get answers in all fairness. What is the cost going to be for connections? what the rate's gonna be. Having said that, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was the city treasurer for Tallahassee, Florida for 30 years. They owned a water system and a sewer system that served the entire county. I was the clerk of the circuit court and controller for Leon County for 16 years and was responsible for financial management of that government. I was then an advisor to the Florida League of Cities, working with distressed cities all across Florida for 5 years. So my background in municipal finance, municipal government, and public policy is pretty deep. And I've never seen a commission that was willing, without having all of the answers and exploring all of the options, to close all the doors. And what I'm asking you to do today is to keep the doors open, to continue to explore all options. And let me suggest, and this may not be a feasible option, that there is nothing that keeps this commission, I think, from building a collection system, storing the sewage, and then trucking it down to Raven County, which I believe has excess capacity for treatment today. So there may be options that you have not even looked at or considered. And I ask you to consider that before you close all the doors. I appreciate your consideration. And keep in mind that you represent all the taxpayers and not just those people that voted for you, but even those people that voted against you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Bree Macy, when I spoke Thursday, I don't want to go over my 5 minutes. So I want to finish what I didn't say on Thursday. I pay, like gentlemen to that, I also pay extra taxes because I don't have homestead. I've been coming to Sky Valley for 48 years, longer than probably anybody here unless you were born here. Well, I've seen all kinds of changes. I remember fondly having the Bryson City Market where in the parking lot where the old lodge is, 2 pump gas station there and the mailboxes were there. I remember having a softball field out where Steve Mason keeps all his stuff for the club. We used to pick up softball games there Wednesday night. I remember horse stables where you go down to turn at Lake Creek Road, where you make that dog leg left to go down to the waterfalls. I remember horse stables there. We used to ride horseback right all through here. So I've seen a lot. I said at the meeting Thursday night, I believe we should have a study, but I also am against putting in the sewage system. We lost our home in Florida due to the hurricane. My wife refused to go back on the water, and no matter what I could do, and I was getting pressure to get her off, so we don't live on the water anymore. We said a lot. I belong to a homeowners association. I'm on the board. We're responsible. The developer, when he put in the development that I live in, he got lower impact fees because he didn't put in streets. He didn't put in street lights. I mean, he put them in. He put in the streets. He put in street lights. So now the county has nothing to do with them. The city has nothing to do with them. We're responsible for it. So right now we're having to assess our members because they didn't want to take the money out of escrow, which HOA should have a planning thing and tell them how much money you should put aside for this and this and when it's going to come due to be maintained or be replaced. So we're having to assess our members to replace all the lights and the poles because the poles are running out. We own that. I can't see the city putting in a sewage system when our water system is the worst ever. Sorry guys, you do a good job maintaining it, but it's always broke down and there's always pipes being replaced. I think we should do something that benefits all the infrastructure and not, this is private property, this is private that these people own. Why would the city want to pick up that burden? And you've been with the city for years. Tallahassee wouldn't want to pick up that burden. No city would want to pick it up. And in all the taxpayers, whether we get low taxes or high taxes, I'm almost done, all the taxpayers are going to have to pay to maintain this thing. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. We should put our taxes and our money that's going to benefit everyone. And I did submit, and Jim, I sent you an email last week about the system. So there's compact self-contained sewer systems that they've been using in Nantucket for years that these people can put in, and they cost. When I was looking at it, it was a third more than a septic tank. Now they're like but I think it was almost, they're like maybe double what a septic tank would cost. So someone can spend $5,000 instead of the 3,100 or 6,000, 3,100 I used to replace my septic tank last summer. You had it backflow in the house. Somebody can do that. But again, the city didn't help me replace my septic tank. The city didn't help me spend $2,100 a year ago in October. I put in to have to replace my water line. I had to pay for it. So that's where I have the heartburn. And I do want to build a bridge with people and not put up walls, but I just felt compelled to want to say that. So thank you. That's what I-
Thank you. Is there any further public comment?
Gail Greenfelder, and my husband has been here since the early 80s, and I too pay more tax because my homestead is Florida. I just want to comment on, and I hadn't planned on saying anything, so excuse me if I ramble, on the fact that although the new council members have only been in office for a few weeks, I have been to every meeting last year, every forum, every meeting that we could possibly have, and I've been to all of them, and I've met everybody, and I can tell you that not only did taxpayers and voters come to these meetings, but also those of us who have a general interest because we have our summer homes here. So even though they've only been in office for a few weeks, I was so impressed by all of the research and all of the documents and it was morning, noon, and night with everyone that you see here that got elected to really dig in to see what was going on in Sky Valley. And I'm talking since, let's say 2017 forward, when this study was done about the sewer. And I'm a business person. For me to, if I was queen of this hamlet, I would want information that is much more current than 2017. To me, that was so bizarre. And if everybody was so bloody intelligent since 2017 forward, they should have known that whatever they discovered in 2017 probably isn't in 2025, which is what the time frame we're talking about the election. Things have changed. Technology has changed. Mr. Massey talks about these little package plants. I had called the people at Valley View on several occasions. I got names and called. I never got a call back because I want to know. Well, I needed to hear from Valley View, what is the problem? What have you done to try to remediate the problem? Because like Mr. Massey, I live in a condominium and we take care of ourselves. We take care, if we have a problem, we just paid all these bills last year to manage our septic tanks. I believe you are a private entity and these are mostly your second homes. So surely you could afford to take care of your own septic tank. And the same thing, the business, which is the timeshares, they can take care of themselves. I don't think that we, especially after hearing when our newly elected officials went to Athens to their training session, the number one thing, if you want to bankrupt your city, is doing this sewer system and not really realizing what this entails. $5 million only scratches the surface. Who do you think is going to pay the rest of it for another 5 million, 15 million when the thing breaks down and you need a pump and there's $6,000? It's the information that these people shared with all of us. It just blows your mind. So in closing, we have had this $3 million grant since 2021. We still in 2025, and when the summer and this charrette, which was so mind-boggling that they wanted to turn this into Atlanta here in Sky Valley, that they put 400 houses, 200 in first phase, 200 this, that. Oh my goodness. You think that the sewer system, and it was now told, oh no, well now we're gonna have to pare it down because it's too expensive. Basically, we were gonna spend all this money for 2 entities. And I think that is wrong, and I hope that you have the wisdom to stand up, because you do have this opposition, as you heard a minute ago, and try to use your brains. Well, I think you're using all your brains, and I thank you for it. And you knew what you were getting yourselves into, and you still ran knowing, but you got elected because of your platform. Controlled growth, and you want to see the reason for the sewer system. My idea is the needs assessment, we don't need it in Sky Valley. Valley View says they need it, Timeshare said, let them do a needs assessment and show how they need it, I went down and talked to James Reese at the county. He has all kinds of ideas. But apparently the city said, oh, don't spend your money, we're gonna spend yours.
Thank you.
Got it.
Come on up. Thank you. Identify yourself.
My name is Kelsey Price, and I would just like to make a public comment that if people are gonna slam the council, I just wonder if they've reached out to the mayor. I believe she's been very open with having Tuesday coffees open to anybody. My husband is on the council, and I believe he hears a lot of complaints, yet has not received any emails. So I just wish that the people of Sky Valley could come together, even if we disagree or agree on certain things, that we could all be part of the solution in a respectful way instead of just complaining about the problem. And my other public comment I would like to make is, can anyone give an example of a sewer in Georgia in the last 5 years that has been built for under $5 million? Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Is there anybody on Zoom who would like to make a public comment? No, in that case, we will move over to general comments from the city council and the mayor. And the mayor will go first. And since I have been maligned on social media several times, and there have been numerous allegations out there. First of all, I want to say that as far as the Planning and Zoning Commission, there was an allegation that the person, the part-timer Jim Phelps, who I put on there, was a major or the biggest campaign contributor. And I will tell you now that Jim Phelps and his wife did not give me a penny toward my campaign. So I've clarified that. Second, there have been allegations that we are going to be punished and penalized if anything happens to these grants. And so I would like to read a letter that I sent out to my colleagues, and that I had sent last week in response to another open records request. And since this hasn't come out, I figure I would read it to you. And it is dated Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Colleagues, for your information, I asked a question of DCA Commissioner Christopher Nunn last week during the Georgia Municipal Association training in Athens. If a municipality decides to return or not accept a grant, will that municipality face penalties? His response, as our newly elected council members will attest, was no. The only time we face penalties is if we divert the grant funds to a project for which it was not approved. That is not what we heard during the work session from Maggie Smith of the Georgia Mountains Regional Commission, who said that according to the ARC, that's the Appalachian Regional Commission representative, that if we return the ARC grant, it might make it difficult for us to secure another grant. I called our District 2 DCA Regional Representative, Kathy Papa, to express my concern that a new municipal administration that might decide to take a different tack would be penalized for being fiscally responsible enough to return a grant applied for under a previous administration, even subliminally. And that the DCA commissioner had told us otherwise. And Kathy, who is copied on this email, assured me that it is not the case that we would be at a disadvantage going forward, and that she would make that clear to the folks at the Georgia Mountain Regional Commission and the Appalachian Regional Commission. Regards, Benita. And in fact, after that, I received several emails from Kathy Papa telling us or letting me know that she is looking forward to working with the city council on any project that we would like to work with them on. Second, there has been a lot of back and forth about the city council, the decisions the city council is making, and the city attorney, and a lot of this is using ChatGPT. Now, if you have an issue, please reach out to me, reach out to the city attorney, reach out to Jason Streetman, our city manager. We will work with you to resolve whatever issues you have. But we are not, as I said last month, we're not going to adjudicate on social media and respond to allegations on social media. Third, a needs assessment was part of my mayoral campaign. It was my position, and I don't recall how many of the other members of this city council stood alongside with me and pledged a needs assessment. I have said numerous times, the mayor proposes, the city council disposes. I proposed a needs assessment. The city council has decided otherwise, and that is fine with me. I'm not arguing with them, but this decision is the city council's to make. And I want you to know that. And I encourage you all to stop the pot stirring that you're doing on Facebook, on social media. And if you have something to say, please call me. Please call your city council members, and please don't denigrate us when we're trying to do the best we can for the citizens in this community. So thank you, and I would pass it down to Council Member Jim Curtis now for any comments you wish to make.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last week, this council voted 4-1 to terminate any further movement on the sewer system. By my count, we have ignored the current and/or future needs of some 200 housing units, probably over a quarter, at least a quarter of our housing units. These are condo associations and timeshares, people who do not register to vote in Sky Valley. So it disturbs me that this action is going to further the narrative that we don't pay attention to the needs of our non-voters, our stakeholders, who may love Sky Valley just as much as those of us who live here full time. Now, in all fairness, some needs have not necessarily been demonstrated. The needs over on of all the units on a Condo Hill. I know that some of those associations have actually had the space to replace a septic field and have done so recently. However, the incontrovertible facts that we know about are that the Valley View condominiums and the timeshares have both written us letters explaining that they have spent time, money, and effort trying to repair older systems after there have been septic, I don't know what the word is, outflows onto the golf course. They have also told us, and this is easily confirmed, that they do not have the space, the land available to replace their septic fields. We've learned that septic fields can't simply be dug up, refurbished, and put in a new field in the same spot, because the soil needs 10 years or something to recondition itself. So to me, these are problems. The E. coli data to me seems directly related to the two major septic areas, the high readings during the COVID years. Obviously, Sky Valley was, 3/4 full year round during that period. So the E. coli readings correlate with human events, and we don't have any information about fluctuations in the goose population or whatever. We've heard all kinds of arguments against the sewer system. They were not in a financial condition to take care of something like this. It's a $5 million grant matches the last cost estimate we had for this thing. So if you believe the engineering company's cost estimate, it's a free system. We've been asked, oh my goodness, what are we going to do if there's a cost overrun? And it's the simplest answer in the world. That's what GIFA is there for. That's what they do. They make loans. They make loans at subsidized interest rates to cover the cost overruns from our grant or from whatever reason they may occur. Our sewer system that it was proposed was a fairly modest system, just the valley, a small system as these things go. We've got some unique issues here. We don't have land. We're not going to put in these sewage lagoons. We're not going to create any natural wetlands to absorb this stuff. So my proposal would be, and today we're going to vote on two things. We're going to vote probably to turn down the ARC grant, which they're about ready to take back anyway because of our inaction. Our GIFA grant, however, doesn't die until January 1st of next year. So the other thing, the action we were going to take was to vote not to accept the GIFA grant and end this discussion once and for all. My proposal is that we keep the GIFA grant for the following reasons, okay? I've been told that there's lots of new technologies out there. I've done just a modest bit of research. These are things I don't really know anything about and not tried and true like sewer systems, but things called decentralized and cluster systems. Instead of a massive plant for the whole city, these systems treat waste closer to where it is generated. Now, where is our problem? it's the back nine of the golf course, Valley View on one side, the timeshares on the other. This is where the spills have occurred. This is where the condo associations and the timeshares have no room to put in additional or replacement fields. What I'm proposing is a cluster system. A single treatment unit serves a small group of 5 to 100 homes. Use smaller, cheaper pipes than traditional sewers. Well, how does it work? They're called step systems. Septic tank effluent pump, STEP. Basically, they use the standard septic tank to catch the solids. And then, since they don't, and in our case, since they don't have a field to put the liquids into, you pump only the liquid through the small, shallow pipes to a central location for treatment plant. The central location for this modest treatment plant would be down below the waterfalls on a piece of property that we specifically bought for that purpose. We're very close to where we have the permit to discharge into the creek. That's basically the proposal, that since you can't put the water in a septic field, we just pump it to a modest treatment plant and continue on from there. If you look at the plan for the old septic system, we were pumping a lot of stuff uphill to a treatment site near the burn pit. This will be primarily a gravity flow system. You may need a few force main, a few pumps, but clearly less than half the pipe would be required. And instead of the big pipes, this would just be enough for the 100 or so units in that particular area. So I would ask you all to consider this, that this is something we really need to look into. It's something I think that's consistent with what you heard in Athens. And if this looks like it's a good deal for Sky Valley, it looks like we can get it into our $3 million grant, you know,
Thank you,
maybe
Councillor.
it's something other than a septic sewer system that we would like to consider.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Councillor Beasley.
Neighbors, I'm so glad to see everybody. For those of you that missed it, we had a fantastic planning retreat earlier today. I encourage you all to go back online and look at that. And one of the great things that you will see is that we had a lengthy discussion about water. We haven't raised our water rates in 15 years. And that the water fund has been running negative cash flow for 40 years. And so we are looking at fixing some of that. So it is no secret on where I stand on the sewer project. However, I've heard from and met with several citizens, and I feel like I would like to share some points of clarification. First of all, it's not a $5 million grant. There was a $3 million grant in 2021 and a $2 million grant that was applied for last summer. There is not, and there's never been a firm, concrete, specific, or tangible plan for the proposed sewer project. The specific users of the proposed sewer were never determined. The shrinking of the plan to fit the price tag, the opt-out, you don't have to hook on, and the lack of ever identifying a special district never happened. The cost of hooking on to the newer system was never established. Statements of we could waive the tap fees, the cost of the abandonment of current working septics, and who was responsible for that cost was never established. Statements like it's part of the grants. The monthly users fees was never established. There was no way to determine the cost of any of all that without all the other information. The timeshares, the club, and Valley View asked the previous council all of these questions, and they never got the answers. In my opinion, you cannot in good faith say you are shovel ready and apply for and execute grants and meet the terms of the contract of those grants. There's conditions with all grants. It is in each of these entities' best interest to have their own septic systems on their own property. As you all know, this is currently not the case. There is a possibility of a solution to this. I've contacted the time sayers and suggested that they look into moving their septic to where the playground is. And they could put the playground right back on top of it. They own that land and it's zoned appropriately. Additionally, I've spoken to a board member from Valley View and discussed the same concept with the 2 lots across the street from them and they'll draw a lot adjacent to the west of them. They would be in control of their own destinies without being subject to the ever-changing leadership of the city or the club, etc. Speaking of leadership, as my good friend Council Allred said, elections have consequences. We all knew the new council was not proceeding with the sewer project as it was presented. And that is the caveat, as it was presented. Just like I said, there was no plan that somebody can hand you and say, here's the sewer project. There was never any concrete information on who was paying for what and how much anything costed. However, I'm committed to helping find solutions like these land solutions I've just proposed. I'm helping permit, zoning, help support and applying for their own grants. The acquisition of those entities purchasing their own land is a possibility. Meeting with Raven County Water and Sewer regarding potential tapping into the Dillard system is a possibility. That was discussed before, but that was never a concrete discussion. There was never numbers, there was never negotiations. So that's still a possibility. I'm not saying any solution is perfect, and I'm not saying it's inexpensive, but there are solutions out there. Respectfully, a sewer project has been on the radar since 2017. But to my knowledge, not a single dime has been saved by the city. No plan has been made, no capital plan like we're trying to plan for our future. It was such a critical need in 2017. Why 9 years later is there nothing that is tangible? The second grant last summer was a surprise and a Hail Mary, if you will. There are terms and conditions to these grants. You can't just say, oh, wait, we want to change the grant and do it this way. You can't do that. When you apply for a grant in good faith, you present that you are shovel ready, you have a specific plan, you've done all your research, you've answered all your questions, you have all the information, and you say, we're ready. And that's when you're asking for the money and they give it to you. Any changes or deviations from the grants violate and jeopardize the contract. They terminate it. That's why a needs assessment at this time would not be covered under the grants. They told us that, we knew that. Further information that was proposed anything that's revealed by it could therefore be punitive, plus it violates it. It should have been done already. The needs assessment was the cart before the horse. You got to put that part first. The previous council spent $81,000 already toward this sewer project. That money came from the water fund. Just one of the reasons it's been running negative cash flow. Their intentions with those funds were reimbursable when the grant funds were actually dispersed. No grant funds have been spent by this current council and technically not by the previous council. They borrowed against it. Lastly, grants by definition are philanthropic and are designed specifically to help those in need. Both ARC and GFA have assured and ethically bound to levy no penalties against demonstrating stewardship of grant funds. In fact, the opposite would be true. This council did not apply for those grants. This council has not spent any of those grant funds. Legally, one council cannot bind another. And quickly about the taxpayer situation, I own property in Florida. Laws of the land require that you can only vote in one place. That is not a city issue. If whoever owned the most property could vote the most, then the millionaires would own this country. You get to vote where you choose to vote and you choose to make your homestead. We only all get one vote. And I'm sorry if I have taxpayer without representation either, but that is the laws of the land. And it has nothing to do with the city council to do that.
Thank you. Councilor Price?
If anyone knows me, they know I don't love to talk a lot, so I'll be brief. I think everyone knows where I stand. I think it would be a mistake to move forward with this project. We learned a lot when we did go to Athens, and it was one of the biggest things we heard, and it was the first thing they talked about without any prompting, was how expensive these sewer projects are. I don't believe it's a great idea. I am, like Councilmember Beasley, for other solutions and want to help. It's not the end because this project ends. There's more we can do. There's more we can do together if we start coming together and quit bashing each other and driving each other apart. So I feel like we can still find solutions to this. There's other ways to get where we all want to go. I think I'm pretty clear on all this. I haven't changed my mind. I'm not in favor of the sewer project or taking the grants. Just to reiterate what Ms. Beasley was saying, is there are specific stipulations to grants. You can't just change it and redirect those funds. That does become difficult and that does become areas in violation. So that's where I stand. I hope we can all continue to move together and move forward.
Councillor Alden.
Um, I understand that elections have consequences, and that's where we are. This is the result of an election. If we had been able to change 8 people from one vote to the other, we wouldn't be all sitting here together. It would be a different group of people. We have, I have heard the old council bashed as to how poor a job we did in investigating everything. I can promise you that all of that is not true. We looked at all kinds of alternatives. We looked at pumping the sewage. We looked at a different kind of plan. We looked at all the alternatives. We had what we thought was the best alternative. And I believe in my heart that a city is a purpose for a city is to do for its residents what they can't do for themselves. Police department, roads. You can't build roads to your house by yourself. You can't build a sewer system for yourself. The city has to do it for you. The fact that it's needed, I think, is intuitively obvious to a casual observer. It's been that way for 30 years here. We've all known about it. It's been a problem. Every council has looked at it, tried to come up with a solution. The solution finally presented itself. We jumped on it. We moved forward. We didn't have all the answers yet because we didn't have all the money yet. We didn't know what we had until after the election, if you recall, when we got the additional $2 million. That's when we knew it. That's when we would have moved forward and nailed down those last details. But what I want you to know is, and I was the 4th vote to say, let's don't move ahead with this. And I agree that again today, although I firmly believe that it's the best thing we could do for this community. But I think it's also the worst thing we could do as this group, because as you all know, a divided house cannot stand. And if we as a group embarked on a $5 million sewer project, it would be a disaster because we would have some people fighting for it and some people fighting against it, and that will not work. It won't work. And I don't want to be a part of that. So I think that we should not proceed. I like Jim's idea. Let's look at some other alternatives. But at this point, we're going to start over with the money too. But that's the result of the election, my friend. So that's where we are.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Beth Pence on Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2021, 3 cities in Georgia were awarded GIFA grants. And that was Luthersville, Georgia for $4,400,000. McIntyre, Georgia got $5 million, and Sky Valley was awarded $3 million. Both Luthersville and McIntyre moved forward right away. They did have their answers and they began their process immediately. They are both still in process in 2026. We learned at our required new GIFA grants are no longer being awarded for septic to sewer projects in Georgia cities. They stated these grants have resulted in economic hardships from significant financial overruns and led to those cities taking out significant loans and experiencing significant delays in their sewer plant completions. As one of your Sky Valley counselors, I'm not willing to put this city into a concerning amount of debt and financial responsibility without knowing residents have looked into other alternatives for their septic or drain field concerns, and without any definitive data of environmental concerns that a single small multi-million-dollar sewer plant would solve. Additional information I'd like to share is that McIntyre, Georgia started at $9.5 million for their project total, and they are still not close to their sewer. They're thinking maybe in their last council meeting that they may have a sewer plant as of May of this year, and that they're at $20 million. So they started thinking it was $5.5 million, and they're at $20 million. Luthersville was not easy for me to find information from their council, they're not posting that information on their site. Both of these cities are same types of populations we have, of course, different environmental concerns. But I have a lot of information about what these two cities have gone through and other agencies that they've been delayed because of, to railroads that have delayed them, to all kinds of environmental issues that have come up every time they went to lay pipes. So these delays have cost them millions of dollars, and they have taken out loans. And like I said, I have a lot of information on this. I invite anyone to get with me. I'll sit down with you. I think I have 20 pages of information that I've gathered from different sites and different areas, and I'd be certainly willing to share that with you and talk about alternatives like what have already been brought up, like the cluster systems that can serve smaller amounts of homes in Sky Valley. So I'm just not willing to put this city into that kind of economic concern. So that is where I stand. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Pence. And that is the end of the public forum and general comments by the City Council. We now move on to new business. And first, under new business is number 5, to consider the resolution to rescind the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, GEFA, septic to sewer grant and discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system. City Manager Jason Streetman, if you would read the resolution for us.
So Georgia, County of Raven. A resolution to rescind the GEFA, Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, septic sewer grant and to discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system. Whereas the governing body of the city of Sky Valley is the mayor and council. And whereas in 2021, the city applied for and was awarded a GEFA grant in the amount of $3 million to aid in constructing a sanitary sewer system. And whereas since 2021, the anticipated cost to construct the sanitary sewer system has increased substantially. And whereas since grant awarding, the need to construct a sanitary sewer system has not been adequately substantiated. And whereas it has been determined that the need to construct a sanitary sewer system is not warranted at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of Sky Valley, Georgia, the city of Sky Valley does hereby rescind the GEFA grant and discontinue any efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system. So resolved this 23rd day of March 2026.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution to rescind the GEFA septic to sewer grant and to discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system?
I make the motion to accept it. The resolution as read.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Last week, I spoke with Devonia Riddle, who is the city clerk of, what's the name of the town where you met the city councilors?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Luthersville, Sky Valley,
McIntyre.
what's the other one, Deb?
McIntyre?
McIntyre, thank you. They don't have a mayor, they have a city clerk. She said that, yeah, they've been talking about this for 20 years. And that they would have been a lot better off if they had built it sooner before costs escalated. When they began construction, they had $16 million in grants.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to call a point of order. The point of order is that this sounds like a rebuttal to Councilor Pence's comments. and as a decorum rule, we don't rebuttal. You can make your independent comments and that you're supposed to, during discussion, be related to the resolution as proposed.
This has to do with my previous remarks about why we should not give up the GIFO grant. That the $3 million could very well fund the simple cluster solution that we're faced with. This is the core of the problem that's been demonstrated, and you know it's a much simpler system. You know, to me, when you say that cost overruns are inevitable, that's baloney. You don't control what's happening in the economy that creates price increases and things, but you can know pretty closely what things are going to cost. So, you know, to say that it's an invented argument.
A point of order is that we hold decorum, and decorum is not a debate.
No.
Decorum is respect everybody's opinions, and they stand. There's no rebuttals, and there's no argument, and there's no debate.
In other words, people are unable to process new information when it comes up.
Nor insult.
I don't think so.
Decorum calls for a point of order, that we don't do that.
Could you please confine your remarks to the resolution, Councillor?
Yeah. We're getting ready to lose 2 million of the $5 million. You know, it's sort of like Pottery Barn rules. You know, you break it, you bought it, you own it. It's going to be a lot easier to own if we can use the $3 million to come up with a workable solution for the most obvious part of the problem than it is to go out and start all over again, set Sky Valley back 10 years in terms of making progress on this issue. And, you know, next time it comes around, it'll be a much more manageable sized project. So this is just a last chance to see if we can't salvage some of the work that's been done in terms of getting the grant money, figuring out what a system looks like, and possibly get this in under the wire.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the resolution to rescind the GFERN septic to sewer grant and discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
The motion passes 3-2.
Madam Mayor, may I ask for a poll of those votes individually called, please?
All right. Councillor Curtis,
Nay.
Councillor Beasley,
Aye.
Councillor Price,
Aye.
Councillor Allred,
Nay.
Councillor Pence.
Aye.
Thank you. And again, the motion passes 3-2. Moving on to number 6, under new business, consider the resolution to rescind the Appalachian Regional Commission infrastructure grant and discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system. Mr. Friedman, could you please read the resolution?
State of Georgia, County of Raven, a resolution to rescind the ARC, Appalachian Regional Commission Infrastructure Grant, and to discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system. Whereas the governing body of the city of Sky Valley is the mayor and council, And whereas in 2025, the city applied for an ARC grant in the amount of $2 million. And whereas in March of 2026, the city had been informed that it had been awarded said ARC grant. And whereas since grant awarding, it has been determined that the anticipated cost to construct the sanitary sewer system has increased exponentially. And whereas since grant awarding, the need to construct the sanitary sewer system has not been adequately substantiated. And whereas it has been determined that the need to construct the sanitary sewer system is not warranted at this time. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and council of Sky Valley, Georgia, the city of Sky Valley does hereby rescind the ARC grant and discontinue any efforts to construct the sanitary sewer system. So resolved this 23rd day of March 2026.
Do I have a motion to approve the resolution to rescind the ARC infrastructure grant and to discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system?
So moved.
Second.
Have a second. Do we have any discussion? There being no discussion, we will proceed to a vote. And I will ask again, I'll ask for a roll call on this vote, just to preclude Councillor Pence, who is having some difficulty seeing that. So, thank you. Councillor Curtis,
Nay.
Councillor Beasley,
Aye.
Councillor Price,
Aye.
Councillor Allred.
No.
Councillor Pence.
Aye.
And the motion, the resolution, the motion to rescind the ARC infrastructure grant and to discontinue efforts to construct a sanitary sewer system passes 3-2. Moving on to number 7, which is to consider approval of the proposed Sky Valley Marketing Committee member appointments. Mr. Streetman, if you would read the names of the proposed Sky Valley Marketing Committee members for 2026.
Madam Mayor, at this time, the recommendation presented to you for the Market Committee, for the POA, the Property Association, Grace Guest and Lisa Rozier. For the Sky Valley Times, it would be Daniela Oliveira and John Robson. For the City of Sky Valley, it would be Councilor Jim Curtis. And then there are 2 non-voting at-large members, Jack Brandon and Harry Collins. So those are who are presented to you now. I believe Gordon may be online if he has any other questions, but that was what was given to us for you all to consider those names.
Thank you, Mr. Brand. On Zoom, would you like to add anything? Is that member list satisfactory to you? Please unmute yourself. Thank you. Go ahead, Gordon.
Gordon, we were unable to hear you.
Oh, he's not muted. He must not have his microphone.
We don't. If you're happy with the list, give us a thumbs up.
Can you hear us, Gordon?
We can't hear you, Gordon.
You don't have a
Are you
microphone
muted?
on or something, so can you give us a thumbs up if you approve of the appointees as presented?
And we can't hear you.
Thumbs up, hi.
We can't hear you.
Hearing no objection, Mayor.
We can't hear you, Gordon.
Well,
Those were the names, Madam Mayor.
all right, well, I want to make sure that, perhaps you could put something in the chat box, if. Do you have to be able to see it?
He's talking.
Apologies for the delay, everyone. We do want to get this committee approved.
Can you see if your volume is turned up, Gordon?
Well, I think at this stage, I'm going to go with the committee members as listed, and we can amend them, because I want to help the marketing committee facilitate their operations. So we will move forward with considering the approval of the committee members as listed. Do I have a motion to approve the members?
I will happily make that motion to approve the members.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any discussion? I guess not. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, and the committee members for the marketing committee are approved, and I hope that if we have to make any amendments, we can come back next month. Thank you. Now, under other business, there is a motion, there is an opportunity for an executive session, and we haven't had one of those in a while, so I'm actually going to ask our city attorney to tell me how to word that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, if you're going into executive session, you just need to ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of discussing, and it needs to be either litigation, personnel, or
Okay.
estate. That's what.
And I would like a motion for us to move into executive session to discuss potential litigation.
I move. Yeah.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
we can, thank you, and we can take no action or no vote during the executive session. So we are therefore moving to executive session. We'll go back up. We will be.
I do not.
Right, we are, do I have a motion to resume
To
our,
come out of executive
to
session.
come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, and no action was taken. We discussed, potential litigation, took no votes, took no formal action. And, I would now like a motion to, I'm sorry, do I need a vote on that
Yeah,
motion?
you
I do, sorry.
had a second.
Yes, I had a second, and I don't believe we need any discussion on that, but do I have a vote to, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you.
You can do a motion to adjourn now.
And now, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned.